So Bonnie Yates is here, and she is a special education attorney with the Tollner Law Offices, and we're so thrilled that she is joining us. Good morning, Bonnie.
Good morning. How are you, Shannon?
How are you?
I'm good. I enjoyed the break.
Yes, didn't we all?
Yeah, we did.
Well, I'm glad that you got a break. Tell us a little bit about Tollner Law Offices and give us your disclaimer for today.
Tollner Law Offices is an 8-attorney firm. We're based in San Jose, California. We have an attorney that practices in Nevada. We have another one that practices in Arizona. If you are in any of those places and you want a free consultation, we can offer that outside of what we do on this show. On this show, what we try to do is we try to inform you about your rights under state and federal law in a general way, but it wouldn't be a substitute for having a specific conversation with an attorney. If you are outside of the states I mentioned, go to COPA, COPAA.net, and you could use their attorney directory as a good place to start.
Wonderful. So now, last week we didn't get to do a live show with you because we had catastrophic issues, technical issues, and we apologize to you and to everybody else. But I know you had a topic scheduled to talk about then. Is that what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, and hopefully you got what I sent you, which was kind of a cheat sheet for Section 504 versus the IDEA.
Yes.
That?
Yes, I do have that. Let me see if I can bring that up. And Traven also got that. So if I let me see if I've got it. But this is a really important topic, because there's a lot of confusion about what the difference is between a 504 and an IEP, and when do you need which one, and what does each do. So where do you want to jump in on this?
Well, let's jump in with the chart first, and then we'll talk more specifically about more nuanced aspects of the law. So here's my observation. Because there's no attorney fee provision under the Lanterman Act in California, which is the regional center, attorneys end up knowing less about the regional center because they don't tend to be able to litigate there because it's not cost effective. And 504 isn't exactly the same because it does have a money damages provision, and you can sue under 504 and get attorney's fees, but that's only at a later stage of the game. And so if you all don't feel like you're very strong on 504, I don't feel like I'm very strong on 504. And so I wanted to at least begin talking about it. It's not a statute that I've used a lot, but I do know attorneys that sue for under 504 for discrimination, and they're successful, and those lawsuits can result in large money judgments. But
okay.
if you have a student with autism, it's hard for me to believe that you'd end up with a 504 plan, properly end up with a 504 plan. I've had students that have been put on a 504 plan with a diagnosis of autism, but I think that it's so likely that the autism has an educational impact that you would qualify for an IEP. 504 is a different kind of statute. 504 is basically like a non-discrimination statute that says you can't treat a handicapped person, and that's the term that's used, a handicapped person, differently than you would treat a non-handicapped person. So if somebody had a brace on their leg or something, a functional brace, you couldn't tell that person you can't play football with the rest of the kids. It's really a non-discrimination statute. And so where we encounter 504 in the schools is you put somebody on a 504 plan, I think generally because there aren't the same kind of accountability requirements at that level as with the IDEA. So we don't have good experiences when our clients are on 504 plans in public school. We could have a good experience if they were properly implemented. The reason they're not is that there's not the same, requirement for an annual IEP, requirement that that you can record your meetings, requirement that you write annual measurable goals and objectives. And so we tend to have 504 plans that are very weak because there's not a lot of ability at the school level for enforcing them. But you actually can have services under 504, not just accommodations to include you in the classroom. So I don't know that 504 is going to soon become really effective for any parents because of the problems at the school level where the 504 plan isn't taken seriously. But it's still important to understand how it works. So a 504 plan, as you see in the chart, the basic description is it's a blueprint for how the school will provide support and remove barriers for a student with a disability. So if you had a wheelchair and you wanted to go into a general ed class and there was only a step going up to the class, the architectural barrier that you would have to remove would in that case be you'd have to put a ramp in for the student so that they could access the classroom. In terms of what it does, what the 504 plan does, okay, the IEP is providing individualized special education and related services to meet a child's unique needs at no cost to the family. Whereas the 504 plan is supposed to provide services and changes to the learning environment to enable students to learn alongside their peers. The IEP is a whole separate law. They're both federal in nature, but the 504, Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act is intended to stop discrimination against people with disabilities. Well, what are some forms of discrimination you could get under 504? Well, what if you had something that said you can't play on the school baseball team if you have a disability? That wouldn't require an IEP, but it would be discriminatory. So that would be a violation of 504. In terms of who's eligible, to get an IEP, there are two requirements. You have to have, first of all, a qualifying disability under the IDEA, and I think you remember that there are 13. And the disability has to affect the child's educational performance and or the ability to learn and benefit from the general education curriculum. And the child must need specialized instruction to make progress in school.
Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.